ดีค่ะยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่ Bangkok Offstage พอดแคสต์ไทยอังกฤษรายการแรกที่จะพาไปเจาะลึกแวดวงศิลปะการแสดงในกรุงเทพ
Hello and welcome to the Bangkok Offstage podcast, the first bilingual podcast on the Bangkok performing arts scene.
แอมแก้วตา
And I'm Amitha. In July of this year, we reached out to researcher and actor Muhammad Abe in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, to learn more about his work as the director of Indonesia Dramatic Reading Festival, or IDRF. In the past few years, Abe and IDRF have been responsible for introducing new works by Southeast Asian playwrights to the region and other parts of the world.
He gives us a glimpse into the Yogyakarta art scene, what it's like to live as an artist in the vibrant city, and the kinds of writing that are coming out of Indonesia. This episode is in English.
เมื่อเดือนกรกฎาคมที่ผ่านมาเราได้ไปพูดคุยกับมูฮัมหมัดอาเบะนักวิจัยและนักแสดงในเมืองยอกยาการ์ตาประเทศอินโดนีเซียเกี่ยวกับการเป็นผู้กำกับเทศกาลอ่านบทละคร Indonesia Dramatic Reading Festival หรือ IDRF ที่ได้นำเสนอผลงานใหม่ๆจากนักเขียนบทละครในภูมิภาคสู่หลายประเทศทั่วโลกในช่วงไม่กี่ปีที่ผ่านมานี้ค่ะ
เรายังได้เรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับวงการศิลปะในยอกยาการ์ตารวมถึงการสร้างสรรค์งานของศิลปินที่นั่นและงานเขียนหลากหลายประเภทของอินโดนีเซียเอพิโซดนี้เป็นภาษาอังกฤษค่ะ
Hi Abe, welcome to Bangkok Offstage. Thank you for coming to talk to us today from Yogyakarta.
I call you Amita and Anne.
And yes.
Yes. Okay.
So before we get to more about your projects and background, can you tell us about how the Indonesian performing arts scene is coping with COVID now?
Well, right now I think it's how to say that this time is more bad than last year because the virus now getting into our circle. So some of my friends are hit by COVID and our families. So last year we still have some performances. We still have online performances. But this time it's very, very hard for us to cope.
So even less online performances, like the energy is down because...
Yeah, because this time is really, really, really hard. Because our friends are hit by COVID and our family. So there is not much time to thinking about creative production. But there is still some performances, especially outside of Java, in Sumatra and some in Sulawesi maybe, but not as many as last year.
So are those like performances about the situation or talking about some other topics?
Mainly not. Mainly, maybe people tired talking about COVID already. They already get from the news, from the social media, and maybe they don't want to hear it more from art.
For those of us who don't know the scene very well, I don't know the scene in Yogyakarta very well. Neither of us do. Can you tell us a bit about what the art scene, the performing arts scene, is like there, and what is its relationship to the rest of the country?
Well, if you're talking about Jogja is one of the center of the art and creativity in Indonesia, because here we have a lot of students coming from all over Indonesia. We have a lot of university in Yogyakarta. There is a freedom of creativity in Yogyakarta because here the lifestyle are not as high as if we say Jakarta, because we are not the capital of Indonesia, but for artists, Jakarta seen as capital of culture and art in Indonesia. Because a lot in the history of Indonesian art, Yogyakarta have a lot of artists from Yogyakarta or even in Jakarta that is important for the direction of modern art in Indonesia. But also not only modern art, but also in the traditional art or in the conventional art, but also in experimental art also. Because we have many festivals also. In 1 year, before the pandemic, we have more than 100 festivals. So this is a lot of artists is coming. Different kind of festival, local festival, national festival, and international festival. So this is something that enrich the culture and also push the creativity.
Do a lot of artists just like move to Jakarta from around the country to do the arts there, or is it more like we want to showcase there, but we don't necessarily want to live there because it's not a very big city, right?
Both, because as I said before, a lot of students coming to learn in Jakarta. Some of them become artists, and they are known as artists from Jakarta. Like me, I'm not originally coming from Jakarta. I came from smaller city in north coast of Java. I came to Jakarta to learn as a university student. But then I became known as artist from Yogyakarta. So this is generally case like me. A lot happen a lot in Yogyakarta. But like as I said before, Yogyakarta is city of festival. A lot of festival happen in Jogja. So this is also the case that a lot of artists came to showcase their work in Yogyakarta. Like in the visual art, we have art job, which is nationally and internationally known as one of the prestige visual art exhibition. Not only visual art, but also performing art now. And we have other festival in dance, in experimental art, so that people came from all over Java and all over Indonesia.
So you just mentioned that Yogyakarta is like a popular tourist destination and arts and culture hub in Indonesia. So what do you think, what kind of impact does tourism have on the performing arts scene there and vice versa?
Yeah, I think since before the independence, from 1920s or something, they built the culture of tourism because we have two temple, Hindu temple Prambanan and Buddhist temple Borobudur, which attract tourists from all over the world. And Jogja is in the middle of these two big temples, who every year attract maybe million tourists. I don't know, a lot of tourists from all over the world. So this is also affecting the culture and art because a lot of foreigner came, and also this is also a market for the art industry because they want to buy souvenirs, maybe they want to buy paintings, they want to see performances. So this is also one thing that developing in Jakarta, but also I think in the last 20 or 30 years there is also a different kind of tourists, which is maybe they are artists, maybe they are producers, or not like general tourism, but like more specific tourists.
Art tourists.
Want to know,
like,
art tourists. They want to know the art in Yogyakarta, or they want to collaborate with Yogyakarta artists. I think the number is not too high, but surely it's affecting the development of art in Yogyakarta, because it's also a chance to bring our work from Yogyakarta to the world.
Do you think the performing arts itself, like contemporary performing arts, attract a lot of tourists, that type of tourist, or other types of tourists as well? Or do you feel like that's not the main draw?
If we look at the numbers, maybe the art tourism is very low, but it's developing. right now it's developing, like with the many festival we have right now. Before the pandemic, some festival can attract many people. Maybe mostly the audience came from outside of Yogyakarta, from other city in Indonesia, and also maybe from Singapore and Malaysia or Australia. This, there are some festivals that the main audience are coming from outside of Yogyakarta. So this thing is developing right now, with also the government. The government also introduced about creative industry and art industry. So this is the thing that how to say, it's like the government, the local government also want to develop this kind of tourism.
You said that there are a lot of experimental art. There's such a free spirit in Jakarta. What about commercial theater? Because you said there's development in that direction as well, or that's Jakarta is not really a city for commercial theater, for example.
I think if we say commercial theater, it will be different with the commercial theater, as maybe if we say commercial theater, we refer to Broadway or West End or some kind of that. In Jakarta, commercial theater is more in a popular entertainment in form of traditional combination of traditional and modern art. We call this performance, theater performance, as ketoprak. So this is it's difficult to explain with that. But this is like a theater, but in a traditional form with the traditional stories. So this attract a lot of audience, but we doesn't have theater company like modern industry theater. Mostly theater here are communities, so it's not like company. And yeah, I think I cannot say that this is a commercial theater developing, but there are some commercial theater happening. But I think in Yogyakarta, whatever you do, whatever you make, there will always audience coming to your show, to your event. This is one thing that is advantage for Yogyakarta compared to other cities in Indonesia or Java, because we have a lot of students here.
And what would be?
Mostly,
Oh, sorry.
So mostly the audience will be like the students, right?
Yeah, mostly are students, young people.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. When I say commercial art in Jakarta, maybe it's mostly happening in visual art, because as an industry, visual art are more big in Yogyakarta compared to other art branches.
And when you said like the type, I forgot the name of it, like the traditional mix with modern theater, that type, what is like the average size of the audience compared to IDRF, for example?
If there are local stars involved, it can be 1,000 audience in one night. Yeah, I think for IDRF, we are maybe mostly we have 100 audience, because Indonesia Dramatic Reading Festival happen in smaller theater, so the maximum capacity is 100. So if we get 100 audience, we already very happy, because it looks packed. 100.
That's still bigger than our small theaters in Bangkok, actually. Like some small theaters are like 30 and it looks full. And
yeah.
or like 50. Oh, you've been to Bangkok a few times, so you've seen.
Yeah, in Jogja we don't have many places, theater. If we say theater, there is only few choices. But same like Bangkok, we have smaller theaters, small places. That is our friend studio or our house. So some of theater group or community are using their house as their theater. So maybe 20, 30 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can feel like the art scene there is very vibrant and there are many like audience there. So I'm just curious, like, do you got any support like to build like a very strong community like that?
Yeah, I think because as a community, we are build our community with the audience. So this is also a good thing because we have our circles. Uh, this is also how to say it? So we build the community together. So we have this we know our audience, but also the challenge is to get new audience, how to get the work or present the work beyond our circle. This is also the challenge. But in IDRF, we always to try to go beyond our community, go beyond our audience. Like we used to invite visual artists to perform in our festival, and we can gather communities we have together.
So do you got like any support from the government or else?
For the case of IDRF, we have been running for 11 years right now. This is the 12th years. We have the support of the government once. When we organizing Asia Private Meeting in 2019. But in Yogyakarta, there is local government funding. We call it extraordinary funding. So this extraordinary funding for Yogyakarta is especially for the art and culture, and this is used a lot by a lot of artists and festival in Yogyakarta. But we never get that fund.
Oh,
It's okay.
Yeah. So, well, let's go back to the beginning about you then. How did you get started in theater?
This is a long story. Let's make it short.
Okay.
I learned theater when I'm in the university. I studied history in Gajah Mada University in Yogyakarta, and then I get know theater from the university theater. It's like an extracurricular activity. I learned theater there, and from there I get to know the theater scene in Yogyakarta. I know Jonet Suret Moko. At the time is active with Teater Gardanala and also Teater Garasi. And my first experience knowing Teater Yogyakarta more theater in Yogyakarta is by, at the time Garasi have a newsletter. They publish a newsletter, and I'm one of the reporter of that newsletter. So I must see theater performances, interview directors, interviewing actors. So this is for 3 years. And after that, I worked for Indonesia Dramatic Reading Festival. In the first edition, I become one of the presenter. So I read one of the play, and also I translate one play from Philippines at the time. So this is my beginning into the theater scene in Yogyakarta, and yeah, it starts from there until now.
Was there a moment when you were like, I know I want to work in the theater? Like, this is going to be my career path.
I don't think that. I never been think like that. I mean, yeah, my friend is building a career or working for the government or working for private sector, but for me, yeah, I just trying to do what I want to do, what I like to do. But yeah, luckily there is always things to do in theater or some other things also. Sometimes I do something else to support my living because if I only work in theater, it will be difficult to live.
What is that other? What are those other things that you do to support yourself?
I do writing. I do research for projects. I studied history, so sometimes I do research for archive, for like museums or yeah, museums mostly.
For you, what's more the main thing? I know that I only know you as, a theater, like a theater artist, a theater practitioner from Indonesia, but like in life, in reality, like in everyday thing, is that what is your main thing? Is theater more of the side thing or?
Yeah, difficult question. I think the main thing is family for me.
No, that's a great answer.
But yeah, just because theater, I'm not always doing theater like for 12 months, 7 days a week, but I have always imagined a project that I can do in theater, and if there is a chance, then I will do it with my colleagues, with my collaborators. So I always thinking about new ideas and always thinking about how to create the idea to become a reality, something. So this is but for my living, I, in between I do something else. And also now I have a family and I just have a son. So yeah, I
Oh,
think the most important is for my
congratulations.
family
Sorry.
for now.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
thank you.
And you said before that you do research for archives and all of that. So are your research work always about the performing arts, or you do research for other types of
Not
topics?
really.
Mm.
The archaeological ones I do. It's a new thing, but I learned, and yeah, and also this time around also history. But when I do that, I this is also important for creating new ideas. I think I think we can use this for I can use this for my project or I can use this for future project. So I think it's helped me to creating new ideas also my other
And
works.
what about writing? You said earlier you also do some writing to, in addition to your theater stuff. What kind of writing do you do?
uh, I do translating from English to Indonesia. This is the experience I got from IDRF,
Mm.
so I can use it for, but usually it's for literary or like young adult novel or book, something like that. Uh, and also writing, but for writing, actually, I do it for performing art mostly. So uh, writing articles about about performances, or reviewing or discussion or something. Yeah, this is mostly it related to performing art projects. the writing.
Is it normal for a theater practitioner in Jogja to wear so many hats like the way you do? To have other
I think
jobs
it's
apart
normal
from
in Indonesia. I think it's very normal because we don't have so many support from the government. So we must taking care of ourselves, right? We must supporting our own lives too, so we can create in performing art in theater. Because also like in the not only me or not only in modern art or contemporary art, but also in traditional performing art, they are actually farmers mostly. So in the day they are farming, and in the night they perform in the stage. So it's common for us here to not only working in the performing art, but also to have other lives.
Okay, so for those in Thai theater, you're known as the festival director of the Indonesian Dramatic Reading Festival. So can you tell us like what is this festival and what is your role in it?
Yeah, Indonesian Dramatic Reading Festival is a festival to introduce new plays in Bahasa Indonesia. The festival started in 2010. The founder is Jonet Suret Moko from Teater Gardanala, Gunawan Marianto from Teater Garasi, and Lucianetti Cahyani from Teater Garasi. So the idea of IDRF came after Jonet came back from Asia Playwrights meeting in Tokyo, Japan in 2009, when he saw a platform to introduce new Asian plays. So he want to build this kind of platform, but in Indonesia. And also at the time, we have difficulties to distributing new Indonesian plays. A lot of theater performance happen, but mostly they use old Indonesian plays, like from 50s, 60s, 70s. So we want to create this platform to introduce new Indonesian plays, because we don't have like magazines or literary magazines or play being published. So we think that to introduce new plays in Bahasa Indonesia, we can create this kind of reading festival. So I joined IDRF at first as translator in 2010, and I start to become more involved in 2000. Yeah, from 2010 and 2017, I always help them as many things, translator, co-organizer, many things. In 2018, I became curator, and in 2019, Jonet, the former director, stepped down because he continued his education in New York to get his PhD. So Jonet stepped down, and I become director of IDRF since 2019. Yeah, and in 2019 also we organizing Asia Playwrights meeting. At the time we invite 6 playwrights from Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Philippines, and Indonesia. So we create this 1 week meeting of playwrights from Asia in Yogyakarta, and we create readings of their plays in Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah, I think this is also great experience for us who organize it, and also for the playwright that came. At that time, we invite from Thailand is Nopan Bunye from Bangkok. Taxi Radio is they presented the Asia Playwrights meeting. So I think it's memorable for us and for the playwrights who came also.
How did you find out about Nopan's play? Did you read his other works as well, or did you also like read other Thai playwrights' works before deciding on Taxi Radio?
Yeah, I think we have few choices, but also for Asia Playwrights Meeting 2019, I was helped by Alfian Saad from Singapore. For me, Alfian knows more about Thailand theater scene, and also he's more he can have more choices than I at the time, because I don't know Thailand at all. So Alfian helped us with few options of Thailand playwright. But when I read Taxi Radio, I think I feel related to the narrative inside the play, and also I see connection between the culture of Thailand and Indonesia from the play. So I think it will be interesting if we present the play, and also because I have some friends who is radio announcer, so we imagine if the play read by radio announcer, it will be more, I don't know, the sound will be interesting. So yeah, we picked that play.
You said that you recognize certain things that in his play that felt very Indonesian. What were those things?
I still remember one of the character, Gudang Garam, who is Indonesian Cigarette. Gudang Garam. Gudang Garam is a brand, a cigarette brand from Indonesia.
Okay. Okay.
So there is one line that said the one of the characters smoked that, and the other things is like the politicians are similar, I think, between Thailand and
That's true. I guess that's very.
Also the traffic jam.
Yes, the traffic jam. Yes.
Yeah.
Even in Jogja?
Traffic jam. Jogja is not that bad actually. It's more Jakarta, but yeah, I think there is similarities that we can relate to that.
Another similarity, just to go to the next question, another similarities in Southeast Asia, I think, is also censorship in the arts. I know we're recording this in July. This is going to come out later in the year, but you're also helping with BIPAM. You were helping with BIPAM to select plays that from Indonesia that have been censored and all of that. As a festival director for IDRF, or like as an actor, as a researcher and everything, as a creator, as a producer as well, do you feel like you combat censorship in Indonesia in the same way as you play different roles, or was there not much censorship anymore in Indonesia at the moment?
I think censorship in Indonesia is a thing from the past right now. I mean, government censorship is more right now. We are more free, more loose to express our feeling, or express our artistic expression, or anything else, political expression, maybe. But we don't have any strict censorship by the government. But in the last 10 years, maybe, there is a censorship from our own community, or self-censorship. This is more the thing that more happening in the last 10 years. Because it's difficult if you put the story about 1965 communism in Indonesia, or stories, if you perform it, or if you put in the publication, the thing is about LGBTQ, then it will be problem from the community. And self-censorship also. So the author, the playwright, or the director tend to hide these things more sublime, not so vulgar. But yeah, for me, in IDRF, we always challenge this kind of self-censorship or censorship by the community, and if we do it, I mean, smooth, there is no challenge from anyone. If we do it with sublime message or yeah, not too vulgar, like in 2019, we present play that is the play is about LGBT community in Jakarta. We present the play, and there is no challenge from anyone at the time.
When you said from the community, you mean with among some of the artists, or you're talking about among the audiences, or both?
Among the, not from the artists, but it came from the people, broader community. Usually the audience have awareness. I mean, they want to see the performance because they have awareness, but like people is not in art, but like maybe some groups in the society, like Muslim hardliners, or I don't know, maybe political hardliners that doesn't want any performance or theater that tells the story about that thing or that theme.
When you said you want to challenge self-censorship, how do you address that with artists, or how do you even recognize that this feels like self-censorship?
Yeah, we talk with the artists, and we if we if we see a chance to because in my festival we read a play, right? And the play maybe published in English language or only circulated in smaller communities. When we took scene in 2019, when we present the play, it means we took the play from small circle and bring it to a larger community. The playwright is afraid, if how about people outside my community? What if people that disagree with the play, the larger community? But yeah, we because I think our festival is safe for any kind of expression, so we guarantee that there will be no problem, and luckily there is no problem.
That's nice. So basically, you
Yeah.
guarantee that you will stand by whatever you present. You will stand by the artists, basically.
Yes. Yeah, because we don't want to. I mean, we presented with, yeah, we have some consideration, but we don't want to change what is in the play, and we present it like everything is okay and still in the. I mean, it's still safe to perform it and to play it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because usually people doesn't watch the performance only by one clip of video or one image of photo. They can I mean, in the social media era right now, yeah, I think by put something out of the context and put narrative that can be different from the context, it can be dangerous. But I think we are lucky to we never have trouble with this kind of thing.
That's good. Yeah.
So, okay, let's go back a bit about like the reading festival, IDRF. So you've been like involved in, apart from this project, you've been involved in many projects to help bring the works of Indonesian and other Asian playwrights to the rest of the world. How would you describe the kind of interest other parts of the world have when it comes to plays from Indonesia or Asia?
Sorry, what's the question? The last question?
So you've like brought like the Indonesian and Asian works like to the world, right? So how would you like how do you think like the world, like the foreign audience, like receive, like what's their feedback on the Indonesian play or plays from Asia?
Because you did one festival in London, right, for bringing Indonesian works to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one time I do that in 2019. It's part of London Book Fair. So at the time, Indonesia is guest of honor of London Book Fair, and there is a lot of literary project happening to introduce Indonesian literary scene to British audience, England audience, and one of the event is to present Indonesian plays to London audience. We bring some, I don't know, 5 or 4 plays from Indonesia to be performed there, to be read there, and that's mixed. So some of classic Indonesian plays from 60s, 70s, and new Indonesian plays, so more contemporary, and also one experimental plays that, yeah, it's like a performance lecture that may be difficult to read at the time in English in London, because it's about Indonesian history and nobody in London knows much about Indonesia. Yeah, but it's interesting that at the time I see that one of Indonesian plays are being read by young actors in London, and it's very interesting. Like the actor said that one of classical Indonesian plays, Kapai Kapai from Arifin Sinur, they said that it looks like Shakespearean somehow, though it's very absurd play, but how the sounds they created, it's like they said that the sounds of the play in English is very Shakespearean.
Wow,
I don't know.
interesting.
The translator is very good, I think. And the other plays are like, yeah, Sin. I mentioned Sin before that we present in Indonesia also after London. So they are also surprised that Indonesia is a big Muslim country, but they can produce a play something like Sin. It's also interesting because it's the narratives is about LGBT community in Muslim community. So yeah, so it's a surprise also for them. And the other thing is, the other project I do is, yeah, Asia Playwrights Meeting, of course, and we also publish the book collection from Asia Playwrights Meeting, and we introduced the book in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, and hopefully this year also in Phnom Penh.
So you mean they will be translated into those language, in the language Vietnamese and in
Yeah, we
Khmer, or?
translated for the reading, and we hope after that maybe it can be published in a local language, because the difficulties of introducing new plays in Asia is the language is different, very, yeah, and if we use English of course, it can be helping us, but maybe not many people will know. So yeah, this is the thing that we still try to try to introduce it in English. Maybe in the future we can do much more in local language. Yeah, I think still a long time to go, but we still trying to do that.
Yeah.
But for the response, response. I think we have a good response. I believe we have a good response. I believe that if we tell the story about our own community, it will be different if we introduce it in Europe or maybe Indonesia, in Thailand or Indonesia, in Asia. Maybe we have curiosity to know what kind of play coming out from Thailand, what kind of play coming out from Singapore or from. So this curiosity will help us because people want to know, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to judge.
Yeah. But your work is not only about playwriting and playwrights, though, because you just told me about a project called Gymnastics Emporium that you're producing. Can you tell us more about that project and maybe what other interests you have when it comes to the performing arts?
Yeah, Gymnastics Emporium is a project that it's happening in the pandemic. So last year, me and my friends, we discuss about what thing we can do in this pandemic with a lot of restriction, and I have uh, interest on sport since I was in school, and I think one of the thing that I learned in theater also and in performance that sport is also a kind of sport event is a kind of performance. In performance studies, we Richard Schechner said that a football match is also a performance in a way, right? So we think that gymnastic is also a kind of performance. Gymnastic, the movement, because in Indonesia in 1970s until 1990s, in the New Order era, we have this national gymnastic curriculum, which is created by the central government, and all of the students from the primary school until high school, they must do it every morning, every Friday morning, if I'm not mistaken. And we see this as a national ideal body.
Body. Okay.
Ideal.
And body. Okay, so this is so through gymnastic, you will reach a body that's ideal for the national ideal body.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this kind of gymnastic also the government introduced again in 2018 and 2019. Also in the pandemic, they also introduced it. So we want to play with this gymnastic. So the project actually, we going through archive, and we found archive from Dutch colonialism era in Indonesia and Japanese occupation in Indonesia, that a lot of gymnastic to do at the time. And also in the New Order era, we researching the series of the gymnastic, because there are 7 or 8 series. So the first series are more complicated. The first few series, the movement are more complicated. So they mix between traditional mixed art, traditional martial art movement, and modern gymnastic. But after in the 90s, the movement are more simple and the music are more modern. They use synthesizer and more. It sounds more American some way. It also shows the change of Indonesian political ideas, or Indonesian are becoming more closer to America in 80s and 90s, and it affecting our culture also. So we want to present this, and the first performance is only by reenact the gymnastic movement series with the background of the archives. It performed in TikTok as part of New Normal Works. New Normal Works is like a platform introduced by Biennale Jakarta and Biennale Jogja and Biennale Makassar. And the second format of the presentation is presented in Indonesian Dance Festival 2020. It's an online performance. So we make the video of. So we create our own gymnastic. We call it Senam Kesadaran Jasmani 2020. So hashtag SKJ 2020. So yeah, I will write it down. The movement is created by gymnastic teacher from Yogyakarta. So we create 1 week workshop with the gymnastic teacher, and want to unpack what we learned from the research of the gymnastic series from central government, and what the teachers have about the teachings of gymnastics to their students. So we create our own gymnastic movement. We made a book, and we invite public also to participate in a video challenge of the. So they can following our movement by using the book manual we create, but also in between we ask them to create their own movement. So because this is the thing, the gymnastic from the central government is limiting our creativity, because we can only following the movement that they already create. And in our project, the key is how to make people not following our instruction. So we create the instruction, but the challenge is how to make them not to follow our instruction. Yeah, it's quite. There are some interesting video participate from the public, and yeah, it's quite nice project, and we still develop the project for the future.
Okay. What are the ways that people have found to, make sure that their instructions are not followed? Can you give us examples? Because it's so counterintuitive, right? Like you create instructions so that people will follow. That's
can you see YouTube?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, what's SKJ? So we could just search online for hashtag SKJ 2020, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll find what you're. Then we can find out what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
There are some because in Indonesia, I just found out a lot of gymnastic competition actually.
Is it an important sport in Indonesia? Like when you go to the Olympics, is that what people watch? No, that's interesting.
I don't know why. It's quite popular. But yeah, I think the public participation is, some are teachers, so from the school, and they tend to following the instruction. But some some artists also following the public participation, and yeah, maybe because they are artists, so they create their own movement. So very interesting.
And what is, because SKJ stands for Senam Kasegaran Jasmani, right? What does that mean?
Yeah, body healthy gymnastic. Gymnastic for healthy body.
Okay. Very interesting. I want to go back a little bit because it's because I was like, oh, Gymnastic Emporium, the title sounds so fun. So I thought it was more something like a lot of fun. I didn't think it was something political. So I want to go back to the IDRF as a festival director. Are there certain types of plays you're interested in that you usually want to bring out bring to the festival or bring to other parts of the world? Are there certain themes that you are personally more interested in, or certain types of writing?
Well, talking about my preference, I think IDRF have a preference also to get more conventional plays, like one act play, two act play, and more realist, what to say, yeah, conventional play. But when I the curator in 2018, I think I start to introduce more experimental plays. So, like how performance lecture, but yeah, it's not a conventional play, right? And also, I think something like No Pandu Taxi Radio is also interesting me, because the narrative and the the is very interesting, and the staging is very different with the play, right? Taxi Radio. I
Yes.
never seen, but I can imagine that the staging will will be very different with what is inside the play. So yeah, I think for me, my preference is, if the play is uh, challenging the conventional norms, it will always interest me. But also, be outside of that, the play also for me is, the narrative is must be interesting, and also must be, how to say, there is potential to reach audience from the play.
And within Indonesia itself, there are a lot of experimental playwriting. Do you find it's more difficult to find in Indonesia, or?
I think right now it's easier to find experimental playwriting than conventional playwriting.
Do you think it was strong to begin with?
But
The conventional playwriting, was it ever strong to begin with?
Strong in what context? What
Like, do you think there were a lot of quality conventional, straight play, that original straight plays that came out of Indonesia, or was it wasn't like they weren't very good ones to begin with, but now that's why there are a lot of really good experimental ones?
I think because of right now, there is not much playwright, so only playwright, not the theater director. Right now, what happened is a lot of theater director writing their own play.
Like Thailand.
Yeah, I think it's happened all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's more, how to say, creating performance or event. It's different if you have playwright, because maybe they also considering about the literary aspect, or dramatic aspect in literary context. Yeah. So and it's also different because in Indonesia, in the past, the director also writing play, but they have experience as uh, producing literary products like short stories, novel, poetry. So they have this experience creating literary products. And now, theater director straight to the theater. They doesn't have the experience of creating literary products. So maybe it's different and becoming more experimental. But I must admit that the quality is not as good as before. If I'm speaking the truth right now, there are some interesting experimental plays, but most of them I see it as a repetition of something that someone had done in the past, maybe with different different context or different local context, but we've seen it like this is already been done in the past. We still wait for. There are some that creating new creativity in writing, but mostly I think it's not getting there yet. But we're lucky that we have a lot of writer who create short stories and novel, and sometimes they create plays, which is very interesting and very challenging also. Like in Jakarta, there is one company that they routinely create performance from Indonesian classic novel, but rewrite for new contemporary play, and I find it's very interesting actually.
Cool.
I'd like to go back a bit to like the Gymnastics Emporium. I think it's very interesting that you use like TikTok, like the social media, like to create the buzz. I'm not sure, like, have you used this kind of platform a lot in the performing arts scene there?
Not much.
Not much.
And experience in at the time, it's difficult because the algorithm is very difficult to be popular in TikTok because there are a lot of young people and
Right. Many contents here.
maybe language or I don't know. We still learn to do this. But TikTok, I think, is one of the promising platform right now, and it's very trending right now. Everybody goes to TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't have one yet.
Oh.
I don't have one yet either.
I have one, but I just like used to like do
just to
stalking
watch
people.
Oh.
Yeah, just to watch. not stalking.
You're not creating anything.
Yeah, actually, some
Instagram and social media. They put it on Instagram and social media.
Yeah.
And last question. What have you observed about playwriting landscapes in Southeast Asia, and what do you find is still lacking, and what makes you hopeful?
Wow, this is okay. I think there is a disparity between region in Southeast Asia. I think Singapore and Malaysia, they have culture of publishing new plays, which is really good and really help the theater scene and the playwright scene there. But like in the Indonesia and I believe Thailand also, we don't have this kind of support by the government for theater and for playwrights. So
There's no market for play. I mean, it's a small market
exactly.
anywhere in the world to begin with, but there's no zero market for playwriting.
That's why
the government plays in Thailand. Yeah.
Yeah. So like what I said earlier, that we need to support our own project, or we need to support our own creativity. So the community is important to do this. Like IDRF, we work with the publisher also, Kalabuku, who publish plays from IDRF. Like what you said, it's a very small market, but we try to build this culture from our own community. And also, but in other countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, it's much more, how to say it, in the Southeast Asia map, we doesn't know much about other countries outside of Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand. Yeah, we don't know much more about Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar. But I believe there must be someone writing there, and I want to get to know them, and I want to get the map of Southeast Asia. But yeah, language is a problem here. Yeah, it's still long way to go, but I think we can do it step by step. And because I think the stories, every community they have their own stories, and every community has their own style of expression and style of presenting something. So I think it will be rich if we can get them together and talk together and learn from each other. Yeah, we talk about Southeast Asia. What about if we talk about larger context in Asia? It will very rich. India, they have great culture of playwriting. Yeah. We don't know anything about Arab countries, but they have great literary cultures, and I think there are some play that come out from there. So I feel very small if we talk about Southeast Asia and Asia. But I think my dream is to step by step to doing little things to get to know more about the landscape in Southeast Asia and Asia. So if you ask me what I learned,
or what are you hopeful? Yeah, what makes you hopeful?
Yeah. What makes me hopeful is, I think I said it before about curiosity. I think I have curiosity about Thailand, about the theater and playwriting in Thailand. And I think Thailand people like you also have curiosity about what happened in Indonesia, in Yogyakarta. This curiosity, I think every one of us have this. And if there is support and if there is chance to fuel this curiosity to learn from each other, I think I'm very sure that this will be enriching the culture in Asia, modern culture, contemporary culture in Asia, and to create something by themselves or together. I think that's my hope for now. I hope that it's not too big.
It's not too what? You hope that it's not too... Sorry.
Not too big.
Not too big. We come to the final part of the show, the lightning round, where we give you two options. It's a little game, very quick question and answer.
Huh?
Yes, and we
A
basically give
surprise.
you two options. The rule is you have to choose one. You cannot say pass, you cannot say neither, and you cannot say both. You have to choose one, and you don't need to give us a reason. So it goes very quickly. Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. If you had to work in one place or in one job for the rest of your life, which one would you choose? The Maldives or Greece?
Greece.
Bangkok or Tokyo?
Tokyo.
We're not offended.
Tokyo.
Sorry.
Tokyo, and in the weekend I go to Bangkok.
West End or Broadway?
Broadway. Never been there.
Cool. YPAM or BIPAM?
BIPAM.
Oh. B-floor theater or full fat theater?
B-floor.
Okay. So it's the same question. Personal shopper or personal chef?
Personal chef.
Okay. Couples therapist or cosmetic surgeon?
Cosmetic surgeon.
Okay. Wonderland or Disneyland?
Disneyland.
Okay. So the last one. Miss Universe or RuPaul's Drag Race?
Miss Universe.
Okay.
Very nice.
So that's it.
That's it. Thank you. Where can we follow your work? Where can we follow IDRF or Asian Playwrights Meeting or Gymnastics Emporium?
Or do you have something coming up
Yes.
soon?
So maybe IDRF. It will be in November or December this year. You can follow IDRF on Instagram, idrf.id. And for Gymnastics Emporium, still a long way to go, but maybe you can follow Gymnastics Emporium on Instagram. Gymnastic Emporium.
But gymnastic with a K, right, at the end?
Okay.
Okay,
Instead of
yes.
C. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. But thank you for coming on our show to talk to us. That was really great. It was great getting to know you a little bit better.
And the Indonesian performing arts scene is very new to us, I believe. Right?
Yes, and we haven't had any Indonesian artists on our podcast yet. So thank you. You're the first.
Yeah.
Please stay safe and healthy. And I hope our situation will be, in the region will be better soon. The COVID situation will be better soon, that we all can see each other soon in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go to Bangkok.
Or let's go to Indonesia. Beaches.
Yeah, I've never been there yet.
All right. Thank you so much, Abe.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Abe.
Thank you, Anne.
Bangkok Offstage is created, hosted, and edited by Gatakit Bungkan and Amitha Amranand. The intro and outro tracks are Quicksand by Wild Light and Probably Shouldn't by Jay Lang.